I am delighted to be part of such an auspicious occasion and delighted to be invited to speak to such a distinguished audience tonight. I came to this great city for the first time as a teenager and as a student at Aberdeen University in 1974. And I have seen tremendous changes in Aberdeen over my adult lifetime to date. The 70s, of course, was the beginning of the era of North Sea oil. I will never forget sitting on the number 20 bus on its way up to Hillhead when a Texan in a Stetson got on board and tried to persuade the driver that instead of going to my student residence at Hillhead, he ought to take the bus to his hotel at Dice in exchange for a fistful of dollars. In true Aberdonian style, he was told quietly but clearly just what he could do with his $100 bills. That was also the beginning of the Aberdeen curry house era. And like North Sea oil, the curry industry in Aberdeen and Aberdeenshire over the last 40 years has gone from strength to strength. And I don't need to tell any of the older generation here how important both university students and Texans in Stetsons were to the early days of Aberdeen's Indian restaurants, as they were usually called then. An Indian meal was a real treat for anyone away from home, yet affordable enough to be done more than once in a blue moon. And by the 1980s, the curry industry had brought many families to Aberdeen from the South Asian subcontinent, just as the oil industry had brought so many people here from countries like France and the USA. And I was lucky enough to work with leading members of the Aberdeen Asian community like Mr. Hawk and Mr. Razak when I got the job in 1984 of setting up the first office of Grampian Community Relations Council, which has since developed and is now known to all of us as GREC, the Grampian Regional Equality Council. The commitment of Aberdeen's restaurant owners to that early initiative made sure that GREC was from the beginning multicultural in fact as well as in theory, something that remains true to this day. It has been my privilege since then to have had some insight into the experience of friends who came here from Bangladesh and from Pakistan and from other countries whose children have grown up as Aberdonians, just as my children have done, and who after they retire are likely to spend the rest of their years here in Aberdeen. The challenges for the North East's curry industry today are a little like the challenge for North Sea oil. We all know oil passed its peak of production in 2008. It is a mature industry and a generation of Aberdonians have grown up who have never known life without it. The energy industry might be here for many more generations, but only if we change over the next 30 years from being a place where oil is produced to being a place where oil production is served. And likewise, the curry industry has grown and flourished here over those years. There is hardly a town or village in Aberdeenshire where you cannot find or easily reach a takeaway or a restaurant and enjoy a wonderful meal. The city has a fantastic range of curry houses serving the cuisine of Bangladesh and Pakistan, of South India as well as North India, and now of Nepal as well. And even before tonight, our best restaurants and takeaways have been celebrated across Scotland and across Great Britain because they are among the best in the land. But as with any mature industry, there are challenges ahead. The older generation have worked night and day to provide for their families, and they have done so spectacularly well. The younger generation have grown up not only with a fantastic work ethic, but also with all the benefits of a rounded Scottish education and the ambition to make their parents proud and to make their parents secure in their later years. That has meant for many taking a different course from joining the family business, something which is also true of many other family businesses in Scotland at a time of change. The next generation have used their skills in IT or in business management to set up their own companies, or they have gone into the professions as doctors or dentists or engineers, or they have gone into public service and even into politics as well. Many have not followed their parents into running the family restaurant or the family shop. That is good for them and good for the wider community, but it does pose a problem for the curry business. Curry houses cannot take the next generation for granted. And that is not the only challenge. High cash incomes in an oil-rich city have helped the curry sector to grow to what it is today. But they're now also growing the competition. 185 shops and restaurants which do Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani food. There are some 400 restaurants and takeaways of all kinds in the area of Aberdeen, and there are even more culinary offerings from different parts of the world to choose from. Curry houses cannot take their customers for granted either. And that is why this is such a good time to be setting up Aberdeen's Best Curry Awards and to be celebrating what has already been achieved and what will be achieved in future. Because it is also a good time for thinking seriously, not tonight, I grant you, but after tonight, thinking seriously about the future of this sector in this city. It is important to be able to recruit chefs of the quality we celebrate tonight from home and to allow extended families to share in the achievements of such successful businesses. But it is also important that the success of one generation is no guarantee of the success of the next. If our children are to celebrate Aberdeen's best curries as we are doing in 30 years' time, I believe the present generation have to concentrate on quality in order to compete and to be in touch with what the next generation of customers will want. This city is ever more ambitious, ever more outward-looking, ever more successful. Our curry industry must match that. That means fine dining as well as affordable takeaways, daytime cafes as well as evening restaurants, and reaching beyond culinary boundaries to offer a taste of other traditions too. That way, I believe, lies success and the best chance of persuading young Aberdonians who have grown up with the curry industry that it is part of their future as well as part of their past. Thank you.